Good morning everyone, welcome to a new video. Well, first things first, today I'm going to go and meet up with my brother and exchange some gifts. 'Tis the season and all that. So we're meeting my brother halfway, we're doing a little present swap at a cafe. So I have, of course, got my sketchbook in my bag and I am ready to also do sketching. But obviously my brother comes first. So we're back home. I thought before I forget, I'm going to put these that I've been doing the last few videos on my online portfolio because they're going to go into my actual physical portfolio. So I might as well update that while I've got thought to do it. I've already taken photos of them. I'm just going to edit those quickly and pop them up on my website. I've just realised that I've also not updated my portfolio with all of my Folktale Week work, so I'm going to quickly take photos of that while I've still got an ounce of light. So that's done. I've got a section on my website where I've got, because I think people like looking through sketchbooks. I probably need to take photos of my more recent sketches because there are a lot of old sketches on there, let's face it. But the light is going, as you can see. Very little light left. So that's a tomorrow job or after Christmas job maybe. Anyway, I've had some questions and they're about materials, art materials, and you know me, I love art materials. So I'm trying to publish this so all of the changes are live. Sit down at the desk and let's talk through some materials, shall we? So I've had a question from Helen in the YouTube comments. Helen asks, have you got any new art supplies on your wish list or are there any that you're dying to try out or experiment with? I don't actually have any materials on my wish list at the moment. One thing that I would like to get into in 2023 or experiment with is screen printing. I do actually have a home screen printing set that I got a million years ago. I ridiculously bought that at about £15 to save like £1 postage because it was free postage if I added something else. So I've had that lying around for ages. I don't know how to use it. I don't know what to use with it. I'd like to get involved in screen printing and have a look at that. My pal Jenny is a printer and I think she's been talking about maybe doing a screen printing course. I might see if I can tag along with her. She's also been talking about doing, is it risograph printing? That sounds very exciting as well, like the overlaying of colours on a big printer, which like a big photocopier type thing, as far as I know. And you can like put different layers on top and the inks into interact, couldn't find the word, with each other. So that's something I'd like to get involved with as well. Some things that I've got that I'd like to experiment with more. I've got these bad boys that my brother got me these a long time ago. And there's just really big chunky charcoals. I do love charcoals, but I'd be quite keen in did I say 2023 before? I meant 2024, my brain. In the new year, I'd quite like to start taking these out with bigger sketchbooks outside, maybe to do something architectural, like maybe go down to like the Sheffield Cathedral or the Winter Gardens or something and just do big sweeping kind of charcoaly movements, see what I can get on the page. So that's something I'd be quite interested in. Also, my sister gave me this when she was having her studio clear out, and it's etching ink, Cranfield etching ink in bone black. And I have been told there is a kind of printing you can do with Tetra Paks. Now, I don't really use Tetra Paks very often because I'm trying to cut down on plastic, but sometimes I do. Sometimes that's the thing that you're looking for is in that option, and every now and then you do end up with like a Tetra Pak or something similar in your house, and I'd like to be able to use it. This is etching ink and it's fine art intaglio printing, and I think the type of printing you use with Tetra Paks is basically this is all theoretical, I've never done it, but apparently you scratch your design into the Tetra Pak, you wipe it off. You scratch your design into the Tetra Pak, you put the ink on it, get it in all the nooks and crannies, wipe it off, and then put pressure on it with some paper, and it is meant to transfer your scratched image. That's something I'm quite interested in getting involved with, maybe overlaying something like that with a traditional illustration, like mixing up my printing with my normal illustrations. Maybe. So I'd like to basically use this because this is a full tube of etching ink, and waste not, want not. I'd like to explore the possibilities. I think that's intaglio printing anyway. If it's not, let me know if you're more up to date than I am. But yeah, they're two things that I definitely want to get involved with. This coming year, I'm going to be using my light box a lot more. So I've got, it's buried down here. Can I get it out for you? Do you want to see it even? Maybe, you might be interested. So this is my light box that I've got. It's more like a light pad. And it's got LEDs in it, and it's adjustable, and you can put rough sketches on it and then use it with normal paper on top to be able to see your rough sketch underneath. I'd like to make more use of this because this year I want to make a lot more like portfolio work, but also like draw up some more ideas that I've got for children's books with the idea of approaching agents and publishers. So I'm going to be sketching them out, and then I'll be using this to kind of tidy them up a bit. I'm still trying to bridge that gap between, my nice rough sketchbooks and being too tidy in my finished pieces. I like the playful, messy sketches that I do, and I don't really want to lose that too much in finished illustrations. That's something I'm going to practice this year, and a light box I think is going to be integral to that. So if you're interested in seeing the box to see which kind I actually got, I'm not an expert in these things, by the way. Don't go thinking this is the best that you could possibly get for the money. It was just on offer. It was on offer at Cass Art, I think, for my birthday. Andy got me this for my 40th. It's the Wafer 2, the Wafer 2 light box. And what brand is it? Daylight when light matters. And apparently 100% brighter. It is very bright, and it's really thin. What I like about it is it doesn't take up a lot of space. So I just slide it down here next to my A2 sketch pads. The actual light pad itself is A3. A2. Oh, I have to dig it out again. So So the light pad itself is A3, just over A3. So that's that. And I thought, while we were talking about materials, seeing as though I get a lot of questions about what sketchbooks I use, what pencils I'm using, and I know I've done a few videos on this, but people who are new might not have seen this. I thought I'd just mention what my favourite materials that I'm using now are. So my favourite pencils at the moment are the Polychromos. Where's the blue one? And probably my favourite colour is the, I don't know why I do that, it never focuses. It's the dark indigo Polychromos. So it's Polychromos 157 and the Polychromos by Faber-Castell. I'm not sponsored, I just find that I really like these. I've got a bunch of like pencils and stuff, like Derwent pencils and things that I've collected over the years. And when I've been comparing all the pencils, the Polychromos give you such a lot of intensity. The nibs don't break as easily, because I've been trying to recently, I don't know if you've seen in some of my recent videos, I've been trying to use up a lot of my Derwent artist pencils when I'm just sketching like out and about, because I could go through a pencil a day if I'm really in the zone with my sketchbooks. So I've been trying to use these up, but I like a really sharp point, and I've been finding with some of these pencils, these are the Derwent pencils, they just break instantly and it's so annoying. And then you try and wipe it away and it smudges. But I haven't found that as much with the Polychromos. And another thing that I like with the Polychromos is they're really intense in colour. Have I just said that? I'm not sure. But they're really intense in their colour. And when you do the, like, what do you call it, shading, like where you put your pencil on its side and you shade like that, and then you get a proper contrast in the tone, I'm squeaking, in the tone that you can get with the Polychromos when you compare it between the shading side to side and the nib work. When I was working with the Derwent artist pencils in particular, I found that the tone was very similar when I used the pencil on its side to when I used it in a lined form. So do I have any sketchbooks here to show you? These bits where the pencil's on its side, and the lines are obviously where I've used the nib, and you get a lot of contrast, so you can get a lot of texture out of one pencil. So that's what I mean. So yeah, the Polychromos are my absolute faves, not just because they are really nice to work with, but the price of them is a little bit nicer. So I do also like Caran d'Ache Luminance pencils, but they are so much more expensive. And granted, they're light fast, they're lovely, but if I can get through a pencil a day, like not all the time, but sometimes, I don't want to be spending £4 a pencil. Another thing that I like to use is my Neocolor 2 crayons. So some of you might have seen me use these in my Christmas watercolours. So these are crayons by Caran d'Ache. They do Neocolor 1s and Neocolor 2s. The Neocolor 1s are just normal crayons, but the Neocolor 2s are water-soluble crayons. So you get two materials in one. So you can either use them as a normal crayon, but if you add water to them, it makes them into a watercolour wash. You'll notice all of my crayons have got a little dip at the end because I use these alongside my water brushes when I'm out. These are another thing that I really like using. You just fill that up with water and it means you've got a brush on the go without having to take, water in a cup to clean your brushes. So I like using that alongside these, and then I use the back as a watercolour palette. You can see where I've taken a load of watercolour pigment out of it, so I can use it as paint without having to draw on it first, and then when it's dry I can use the other end to be a crayon. So yeah, like those, keep them in just a little tin that used to have nails in it, Andy's granddad's. What else do I like? So I've got those as well, which are great. Something that's indispensable is a pencil extender, this thing here. So it's got two sizes, slightly bigger, slightly smaller. And when your pencils are getting super short, you can extend them. Does exactly what it says on the tin. Sometimes you may have to, sometimes you might find that this bigger one doesn't fit your pencils, or you might want to put 2 of the same size pencils in and it's not quite right for the smaller pencils. A way around this is to put tape on the ends. This is just normal paper tape, and then it gives it a bit more purchase and you can use it like that. Makes you feel like a magician as well. What else do I like? So my sketchbooks. So these sketchbooks are cheap as chips. I get a lot of questions about my sketchbooks actually. I don't use anything special. I used to buy a bunch of watercolour sketchbooks and they are still mainly empty 10 years later because they're quite expensive. Not like mega expensive, but they don't... If I were to only use watercolour sketchbooks, I get through about 3 sketchbooks a month now. I would be spending a lot of money on sketchbooks and I'd probably feel like a bit every time I wanted to just scribble a quick picture of a dog that walks past or whatever, you know. With the cheaper sketchbooks, I don't have that problem. I will just fill it full of messy sketches. I have actually done a sketchbook tour video, which is all about comparing a bunch of sketchbooks from before my year out, which are mainly watercolour sketchbooks, to within my year out, and that's quite a nice video. I've had a lot of good feedback on that one. So if you're interested in sketchbooks, if you're interested in sketchbook tours, go and check that out. I'll link it in the video description, or I'll link it at the end of the video. If you see 2 videos pop up, one of them should be that video. If you don't see 2 videos pop up, don't worry. Not everyone does. If you're watching it on a mobile phone or a tablet, you won't get the pop-ups all the time. So those videos will be in the video description. If I'm ever talking about a video, I'll always put them in the video description. So you can go and check them out yourself. But the sketchbooks that I've got, I used to use Hobbycrafts. They do a bunch of cheap ones, but I found some cheaper, and these are from Jackson's Art. I do have an affiliate link with Jackson's. I'm not paid to use them. I'm not paid to say how brilliant they are. I was using them anyway, and because I was using them anyway and I was already suggesting them to people who were looking for materials, I thought I might as well sign up to their affiliate link. So that's the kind of thinking behind that. Don't go thinking I'm paid to use Jackson's. They don't sponsor me in that kind of way. But I do have an affiliate link. So these sketchbooks are cheaper than the ones I could find in Hobbycraft, and I've tested out their paper in comparison to the Hobbycraft ones, and even though these aren't watercolour sketchbooks, they will handle a lot of water. So the paper weight is 140 GSM. It's got the same number of pages as the Hobbycraft cheaper deeper ones, and the Hobbycraft ones are fine. I don't use them because they are good, that, you know, the paper will handle a lot of water. I use them mainly because they're cheaper than the Hobbycraft ones, and these are the cheapest sketchbooks that I've found. Doesn't mean that the cheapest sketchbooks in the world, but they're the cheapest ones I've found, and they're an A5 size. I do use them in A4 as well, so that size, and in A3. And like I said, I use these ones because they're cheapest, but also as a benefit, the paper is a little bit thicker than the Hobbycraft ones. So not only is it cheaper, but it's better as well. So I can use like paints and pencils and all that kind of stuff in it too. Like I said, not watercolour paper, but will take a bunch of work. And like I say, this is, in fact, everything here, apart from the light box, I think you can probably get on Jackson's. If I can find them on Jackson's, I'll link them in the video description. The links will be affiliate links. Don't worry, it doesn't cost you anything. If you've never used Jackson's before, you will get 10% off your first order with Jackson's if you click through my link first. No obligation, obviously. And if you have used Jackson's before, again, no obligation. But if you know you're going to do an order, or if you want to try anything out that I'm talking about in the video, if you click my link first, it won't cost you anything extra. I mean, you won't get 10% off either, but it won't cost you anything extra. But I will get 5% off on any order that is placed through my link, and that goes for people who've never used Jackson's as well. So just for full transparency, that's how that works for me. So yeah, I get a lot of questions about my sketchbooks. So they're the ones that I use, are the Jackson's Studio sketchbooks. I'll link them all in the video description. Also, this is really good. this whole pencil roll. I never used to like pencil rolls before. I used to just prefer popping everything in a big old pencil case. But actually, if you are going to be getting into quick sketching and timed sketching, you want to not waste any time rummaging in a pencil case for your favourite pencil. So everything's laid out. I like to lay it out like a rainbow because I'm just like that. And then when it comes to getting on the road again, just roll it all up and I just bung it in my pencil case. So I've still got my big pencil case. There's a lot of like bits in there, like washi tape and water pens. It just goes in there, all waterproof. I've got another one. It's just like an IKEA thing. My sister gave me this when she had her clear out. The other one is for my sketchbooks. That goes in there. If you've got space as well, you can even put this in that one. And then it's all nice and waterproof, so if you get caught in a rain shower, your things aren't going to get all wet. I've also got, I succumbed and I gave in and I got one of these Faber-Castell Posh pencil sharpeners because I was sick of the tips breaking when I used a normal pencil sharpener. And I've got to say, it is dead good. I don't normally buy into all of that like fancy pencil sharpeners thing. It is good. The thing that annoys me a little bit, it doesn't annoy me too much because I use Faber-Castell pencils, but these are the exact sizes for the Faber-Castell pencils, and anything else, so for example the Derwent Artist pencil, that doesn't fit in there, you can't get to the blade, so you've got to use the jumbo one. But saying that, it still works, so that's nice as well. And I think that's everything I use like a bunch of. Oh no, pastels. I also use pastels. Some people have been asking me when I've been doing like my Christmas illustrations and things, are you using pan pastels? And I think that's because I use this. This is a pan pastel accessory. And if you don't know, pan pastels are like, they're low dust. I do have one pan pastel, let me show you. It's this one. I don't use it very often because the colour is so light. But they're low dust, high intensity, high pigment pastels. They cost a lot of money, but I think they are probably worth it. This is a pan pastel accessory because the way you apply pan pastels is with the accessories. You can get little tiny ones or big fat ones for lots of location, for lots of area. What I have been using are these. So these are handmade, Jackson's handmade soft pastels. So I tape my paper down when I'm doing illustrations, and I scribble this on the tape, and then I use this to smudge all the dust down onto the paper. So that's what I've been doing. If anyone was wondering how I'm getting that blue background around the cats that I've been doing recently, that's how. And also I've been using these. I got these ages ago. In fact, I think these were a gift from my brother. Faber-Castell soft pastels. What I like about these is this. So you see this logo, the AP logo? That's the ACMI Art and Creative Materials Institute certified, and it makes sure that there is nothing damaging, no chemicals that are damaging to human health in the dust of your pastels. So that's always something to look out for when you're using something that's, because these are quite dusty. It's good peace of mind to know that you're not going to be like inhaling any cadmium or anything, which I never really thought about until this year when I started using all my materials lots. So look out for that logo. It's the ACMI AP logo, Art and Creative Materials Institute certified. And I think that's it. I think that's everything that's like my key stuff. Oh, one last thing. I've just seen these water pens. I also don't just use them for water. As you can see there, I use them for inks and watercolours. And I use a liquid watercolour, which is really nice to use in conjunction with that. And it is this Ecoline. I don't think you can get Ecoline from Jackson's, but you can get it from Cult Pens, I think. I think that's where I got these ones. And it's just a liquid watercolour, really intense, like an ink, but it's reactivatable with water. You got a little pipette there, and it's very easy to fill up these water pens with a colour. So I just do like half and half or whatever consistency you want. The good thing about these as well, put them away now, is if you have any of the Ecoline pens, which I do, so those ones, they're Ecoline brush pens. It tells you the number on the brush pens, and you can refill these with the appropriate colour of these. You just twist the top off. Oh, I tried this last time, that one's stuck. I need to get like pliers on it. So you just twist the top off, and the way I refilled mine, I don't know if this is how you do it, but I refilled mine with a bunch of the watercolour and then topped it up with water, like I would with a water brush, and it seems to be working as it should. So you can refill those with it as well. Anyway, see Helen, you opened a can of worms talking about materials. A can of worms. What else might people want to know before I go? Oh, the paper that I use for my, that I've been using for my illustrations, and I tend to use this more than watercolour, is, I mentioned this in one of the last videos, it's this Daler Rowney fine grain heavyweight, not watercolour, Daler Rowney fine grain heavyweight paper. It's like a cartridge paper, and it's suitable for pencil, paints, inks and charcoals. It's got a nice grain to it, which sometimes watercolour papers don't have. And I found that even the watercolour papers that have a grain, it tends to be more uniform, like a grid. And when you're using like pastels and things like that, on top of that, it picks up the grid quite a lot. It's like, it gives you like a rubbing effect, as though you've like rubbed it over a texture. Whereas this has got a really nice fine grain on it, and it keeps its grain. You can use watercolour on top of it. It might not be as durable as like proper watercolour paper, but I don't do, you know, heavy wet on wet watercolour techniques. I use a bit of watercolour and dry it off with a hairdryer before I add anything else. But I do like adding pastels and things on top of watercolours, and this tends to keep its grain a bit when I've done that. Compared to the watercolour paper, I prefer the grain to it. And this is A5. They also do it in A4, A3 and A2, and I've got A4, A3, A5, A4 and A2 at the moment. I don't think I've got any A3 at the moment, but you don't need to know that. So that's just something that you might also want to know, because that's what I've been using recently in my videos. So I'm going to stop talking now, because this video is probably about 10,000 years long. Tonight is the Good Ship Illustrations Art Club. By the time this goes out, you're not going to be able to see that, but they normally record their art clubs. So if you're looking for a way to loosen up in a fun environment and kind of see art from a different perspective and inject just a little bit of loosey-goosey fun, definitely go and check them out on Instagram. They run their art clubs on Instagram Lives. They don't do them regularly anymore. They used to do them more regularly during like lockdowns and stuff, but now they do them like a special pop-up events, and this is their Christmas party. Like I say, it's going to be too late to actually join in live, but they do record them. So if you're looking for some Christmas fun or some arty fun, go and check out their lives. And I think they save them as, well, they save them somehow on their Instagram page, and I think they are just at Good Ship Illustration. I'll link them in the video description. So I'm going to go and edit this video before that goes live. I've been talking so long, my voice is going coarse. Hoarse? Croaky. Coarse. So yeah, this is where I'm going to leave this video. Thanks so much for asking that question, and thanks also for watching. I really do appreciate you, and I appreciate every comment. I appreciate every subscription. Talking about subscriptions, if you are subscribed, just go and double check that you're still subscribed, because like I said the other day, one of the YouTubers that I watch mentioned that there's been a thing going on with YouTube subscriptions where sometimes people who think they're subscribed have been unsubscribed by YouTube. Don't know if it's a bug or anything like that, but I thought, no, that won't be the case. But then I went to check to see if I was still subscribed to them, and I had been unsubscribed. So if you still want to be subscribed, go and double check that you are still subscribed, because that bug might have affected you a little bit as well. It had affected me with like half of the people that I normally watch. I was wondering why I wasn't seeing any videos. So I went through all of the people. I went and searched for all the people that I normally follow on YouTube, and I'd been unsubscribed from like half of them. So if you still want to be subscribed, go and check that you are still subscribed. And if you're not, click subscribe. And if you're not yet subscribed, but you would like to be, come and join the family. Come and welcome. Come with us and go and click subscribe and join in the fun. So I'm going to leave this video here now, stop talking, and I'm going to catch you in the next one. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.